using 120 frames a second and some speed ramping in post, plus some physical effects to make a really boring subject matter super engaging and exciting to watch. Let's take a look at how we did each one of these shots. As a filmmaker, and especially as a commercial filmmaker, you're faced with the challenge of making mundane, ordinary things look really interesting and engaging. So you apply a little 120 frames a second with some speed ramping, use some physical rigs so you get inside things, really interesting shots, and that creates a very fascinating, fun to watch video when you're done. This is super important to do because as a commercial filmmaker, when you're giving something like a bicycle part, you've got to be able to know how to make that interesting and engaging and the viewer want to watch it. Let's take a look at how we did this video. So this first shot is just an establishing shot. I've got the camera on a Platypod. I'm in tight on it with a wide lens, so I can see the whole room. I see the things on the counter. Just gives me a great establishing kind of look. It's hard to get this without being on some kind of like the Platypod where you can get in close and be close to the toaster on the counter. So I'm going to be working off from this a lot, so I'm on the counter with that wide lens. But it just establishes our talent and things on the counter, and we cut to the fridge. Classic fridge shot. We've got our camera on a Platypod in the back. We've got a monitor on it so we can see exactly what it's seeing. 17 millimeters to get that nice wide view. We've got a light back in there. It's a Lytra light, Lytra Studio. It's bouncing in the back of the fridge, lighting his face. And then we do two different versions. We're gonna do 24 frames, which just looks, takes the things out. Then we'll do also a 120 frames a second where we can speed ramp that to make that a little more interesting, make that fun. We'll try both those versions in the edit. So there's our shot in the fridge. For this shot, I'm going handheld at 120 frames a second. And this really smooth kind of movement just looks very much like a slider at 120 frames a second. And it'll ramp in post, so it'll look really cool. We can shorten it up and just make this quick establishment of the juice going down. 120 frames a second, looks great. So we've got our makeshift probe lens set up here. The idea is to pass through things. If I just followed the cord, that's cool. But having the jam and the juice and the toaster and things along the way, so you're passing things, so the things are passing you, make it look much cooler. We will have to slide the toaster out as the camera goes by because the camera would hit the toaster. But as the toaster gets close, we'll just kind of slide it to the side and let it go on through. It looks very cool. Then Chris will grab it at the end, so we can kind of speed this up to go into real time as he picks it up, and that gets us into a transition to our next shot. So we're going to combine two shots here. The slider's going to move in on the regular toaster, the handle will go down, toast will go down. Then the slider will get in tight, then it'll slide back out and the toasted toast comes up. Then we're going to replace this toaster with the identical toaster in the exact same spot. And as the camera finally just breaks into the sides of the toaster, we'll dissolve it into the toaster that's stripped open on the side. The side has been peeled back to be able to see what's going on inside. We see the elements on, we see the red, we see the toast starting to toast, and then the camera will pull back, and as it starts to pull back, we blend back to the other shot. So it's gonna look like the camera went kind of popped inside the toaster and then popped back out. And if I do that right, if I blend those two correctly in the edit, and just give us a little ramp in and a ramp out, it's gonna look really cool. So I've got a series of down rigs here, and we have a Platypod just attached to the box. That just makes it easy for me to get a camera slung under. It'll look straight up, and I can also move this around on the counter depending on what I want to see up on top. And then I just took the top off of one of the toasters, attached that to a couple of boards here so I can put it on a board and put a sandbag on it. Now we can look straight through it. He can look into it. So don't be afraid to create things, wreck things, cut things, take things apart. I mean, this toaster was 20 bucks. You know, it's not like I'm spending a fortune, but it's going to give me, I can do several different shots with the toasters. I tear it apart and just gives you some cool shots. So I am using a Lytra Pro light just down on the ground, about 10 or 15%, very low, just to open up a little bit of the shadows inside the container so the container has a little bit of depth, isn't just a black hole. So we've continued to shoot straight up. I just love this kind of setup with the Platypod and a piece of plexiglass because I can now shoot everything up. I can put a plate on here, which we did. We can do the jam on top of the plexi so it just starts to wipe the frame. I've been shooting that shot since the 80s when we started doing that for Comedy Central with weird things wiping across the camera like mud or those kinds of things. I've been shooting that shot for years and years and years. Like the plate and the butter dish, all those things just give us quick cuts that we can use in the storytelling process to just change the size of the frame, to give us a little more interest and to move the story along. So I just cut the bottom out of the orange juice container so that we can put that right over the lens. I cut out the side here so I can still focus, which I needed to do. And then we just got Chris comes in, he puts his nose in it, just a little sniff, and just a funny little shot we'll insert in just before he pours. So just bottom up from a container. So we're doing our down shot still. So they cut the bottom out of a glass, and stuck it on plexi with some silicone. And that way we can pour water straight towards the camera, that slow motion, 120 frames. See the water kind of bounce around in there. It's just a quick little shot. I did 2 of them on a little piece of plexi here because I just wanted to be able to shoot one right after the other. So it was really quick to be able to get them. We don't have to clean them up, or if we clean them up, we can clean them both up. We can do bam, 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 bam. Just helps us move faster. So editing is going to impact this video completely because how quickly we cut from scene to scene, the way we ramp, the way we do our transitions, all those things are going to add to the pacing, the music. All this is going to help us to get a final piece. So let's take a look at that final piece. So there you have it, how to take something that is mundane, ordinary, and turn it into something that is more interesting and extraordinary. So you keep those cameras rolling and keep on clicking. You know how much we love Platypod here at the Slanted Lens. Well, they've got 2 of their packs are on sale right now. The multi-pack has something that is really unique. It's got a Arca Swiss plate. It's round, so it allows you to put it on your camera, and you can slip it on any ball head and tighten it. You don't have to orient it a certain way. It makes that really super easy to use. This is something very new from Platypod. That's on sale right now. You should check that out. It's got all the adapters you need to be able to make this work, which is the Ultra Twin Pack. This has got 2 of the Ultras. It's got 2 of your spigots. Basically, it's a baby pin, but on one side is 3/8, the other is a 1/4 inch. It's got a 1/4 inch to 1/4 inch adapter, and it's got the silicone pads to be able to put that so they won't slide if you put it on any kind of a surface. I've got one of these attached to the ceiling over top of our slanted lens set. I carry one in my backpack all the time. I think that's a great way to stabilize a camera that's lightweight with you all the time and just easy to carry around. So check out these 2. They're on sale now, so you check those out. Platypods, multi-pack, and twin pack.